Welcome to Fictional Problems, the podcast where we discuss all things writing, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. On today's episode, we discuss our personal philosophies and how they relate to our writing. We also discuss how the personality of the author may shape their work, whether it is seeking the distinction between group and individual, or trying to leave the world a better place than they found it. Join us.
We're recording? Oh my God.
We are recording. We are back with Fictional Problems with myself, Gary J. Martin, and
Aor McNevin. All to his friends.
or so he claims.
All two of them. Right.
The live model decoy of Aor McNevin.
The live model. I thought, what the fuck are you saying? Oh, wait, no, I get it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that just threw me for a loop.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry about that.
Am I the live model decoy of myself? That's an existential question that I'll be dealing with for the rest of the day.
Speaking of existential questions, let's talk about our personal philosophies.
Absolutely.
It's one of the things that we wanted to get into today, and
yes, indeed. So this was suggested as a topic, the idea that how our personal philosophies, our morals, our ethics, all those sort of things have an effect on the writing.
Oh, damn. Do you have to have morals and ethics?
Well, you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Indeed, in this life, to get ahead in business, it may be effective that you don't.
Yeah, it could be crippling for your future prospects.
Yes. Sorry, I was about to do a diatribe. I will. I went for many years ago. I went for a role in a gambling establishment.
Oh.
And I got through the first round interview, and the second round interview, and the third round interview was talking to the boss, and he went, "Well, we're gambling. Are you okay with that?" And I said, "I have no problem with the ethical treatment of gamblers, and so what's your moral position?" And I went, "I don't really have a moral position on it. I have an ethical. This is the job. I have an ethical position," and I didn't get the role. So I guess maybe they were looking for someone of a less moral fabric.
Perhaps, yeah.
So because I swear those companies, they're trying to make money off of gambling. There's no question about. They want the big whales to spend their money.
Yeah, I don't think they rate their success in how much fun the players have.
Exactly. Yeah.
In so much as how much money is in the till at the end of the night.
100%. The house always.
I don't even think they hide that.
Oh well, yes, but I think that if for the people you're working for you might want them to have a certain moral flexibility to quote Grosse Point Blank. It's moral flexibility. So the idea with that, from a writing point of view, is it a case that the stories that you tell, stories that I tell, stories that we tell, are they bent towards a certain moral pole?
Indeed.
If you look across, in 10 years' time, if you look across your oeuvre, your content, your
body of work,
exactly the small library that is
very small.
Gary J. Well, I say in 10 years' time, I expected you to have four novels out.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one every 2.5 years. That's a very good. That would
be good. Yeah,
that'd be a nice turnaround. So let's say 5 years' time, looking across the path, whether it be all Knights of Gera or whether it's separate things, do you come from a position of a personal stance, a personal philosophy, where it is directing your writing?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the writing can be an extension of yourself.
Absolutely.
So as you're kind of crafting and putting a story together and plotting it through, I don't think you're going to write a story that you're morally objecting to. Like I don't think you're like, whatever about characters and actions and behaviors and how the story goes. I don't think necessarily if you're morally opposed to a particular philosophy, I don't think perhaps that you're going to write that story. I think you'd be more inclined. Well, I'm certainly more inclined towards, Okay, so putting it one way, I mean, if the reason I love fantasy,
right?
The reason I love fantasy is you have, a character, and there's a problem, and through their heroic deeds, they are either solving that problem for themselves or solving that problem for a wider community,
right?
Or for, in some cases, the world in general.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it could be quite a simple problem, like the Lord of the Rings, for example. The idea that if you throw this piece of jewelry into a volcano, then all of the bad things in the world are fixed.
Sure.
All of the evil goes away.
Right.
That's while brilliant and masterful.
Oh yes, absolutely. No,
it is
no shade being cast.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely brilliant, but and masterfully done, like I said. But it's very simplistic.
Oh yes.
And I like to think of like how would I bring that back to real life for me as an individual, like this, and I don't think there is a one ring in my life that I could throw into a metaphorical volcano to make all the bad go away. I don't think that's a realistic way that life happens.
Sure, but would you say that in that regard that you are, or one is simplifying the story? And again, this is I guess we're using terms like simple and basic, but we're using one of the greatest
uncomplicated, perhaps
uncomplicated. Perfect, I guess.
Yeah.
So reality, overly complicated. Fantasy, not so complicated. Like there's a wonderful book, The Dancing Woolly Masters, which is a book basically about quantum physics, and the core principle is that reality doesn't wait for you to figure shit out.
No,
so
sounds
you can't get everyone to stop and try and figure out gravity. So in this way, you are, say, looking at Lord of the Rings, looking at the challenge of this one small action to fix this one big problem.
Yeah,
it resonates. So it resonates whether it be with a personal philosophy or I guess that's like an extension. The what's inside the writer's soul, heart, psyche, that is then transformed through the lens that is the story for the audience.
Yeah.
So we could talk about how Tolkien was, his positions on war, positions on technology. And there's been many a thesis written on,
no doubt,
his
Tolkien scholars.
How the ring is a manifestation of technology, and how what he saw during.
But in the story, it's just a piece of jewelry.
Oh yes, but that I say uncomplicated form does allow people to, and it is a stress between good and evil that which is a very, I guess, easy position to take. But but to kind of push back slightly, the idea, because you immediately went to the thing I wouldn't write, being against the philosophy. As in, we're not going to have you're not going to write a fantasy where Epstein Island is a positive.
No,
Jesus. But that's because that are fucking terribly wrong, and criminal and all that jazz. But I'm talking about the step away from one step away rather than the opposite.
Yeah, so I'm in what the point I am making in relation to Lord of the Rings is, so I personally go, well, what would I love a reader to bring away once they leave my fantasy realm and come back to the real world? How can they relate to what they've just read and take a positive from it?
So so this is a active part of your philosophy to influence the reader?
Yeah. Or to at least kind of provide either so I like it to be a little bit more complex than the whole throw the ring in the thing.
Yeah.
So, and because the real world is like that. So there's morally grey people everywhere. There's complexity. There's, cross purposes of motivations from different people. So, everyone thinks that they're doing the right thing, or at least they want to.
Yes,
to think they're doing the right thing.
I don't think people know they're doing the right thing. I think they're doing the right thing for themselves.
Well,
and for a small body of other people. I think that's the problem we're having at the moment.
Perhaps their definition of right thing, just in parentheses, has for me.
Yes, exactly. For me, for my small cadre of other billionaires. Sorry, did I say that? Sorry.
For me, my friends, my family. So if someone is doing the right thing, parentheses, for them.
Yeah.
That's completely subjective to the individual.
Sure.
That's performing that action, or if it's a case of like, it's hard to achieve something without someone else, failing. In a lot of these situations in the world, like, so if you're going for a job, someone's not getting that job.
Sure. Okay.
You're succeeding. You're doing the right thing for yourself, but you can't. You can't kind of go, well, I'll give up the job so that other person can have it, because it just doesn't make sense.
Yes.
No one. You'll be digging around in scratching around in pits for the whole of your life. And there are individuals historically that are so selfish and or selfless and so altruistic that they themselves end up suffering because of it.
Yes. Well, again, that would be a personal philosophy or actually, I was about to say or mental illness, because someone who is so selfless, that is, because if we are biological animals to propagate or to live a life, and someone of that an individual is so selfless that they are harming themselves not in a direct way, but as in there's a so profound sacrifice. Certain religious orders over the years would have been examples of this. The Jains, I think, maybe an example of this as well. That would be a kind of something to go to perhaps question in from a modern point of view. And I think I've taken us off topic.
Maybe I did that.
No. Tangents are wonderfully good. I'm just trying to remember where the feck I was. Because I think we dived into the like modern politics. But the portraying of a philosophy that. So actually, I want to go back to you saying about influencing your reader.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can say the same.
I don't know if it's necessarily influence though, or perhaps it's provide an opportunity for a reader's own self-discovery in some small area of their life, or some small comfort in or some small satisfaction that perhaps that they can take something positive from what they've read and perhaps even apply it to the real world. Like they can see like the positive outcomes of acting in a more altruistic or heroic way.
Sure.
By reading this character and going, do you know what? That's something I'd like to emulate in life, perhaps.
Oh no,
a little bit more.
So entertaining as well. So
absolutely,
entertaining is always a good starting point. So there's a wish to bring about some betterment. Whether that person reads the sacrifices that Thorn makes, or the heroism of either Kisvana or Rosalind, you want them to take that on board, and hopefully through the alchemy of your writing, that this person has this, because we all have influence on one another.
Yeah.
The person who cut you off in traffic today will have influence on your life. Who was it who said? I'll remember in a second. If you have a flat, you're driving into town, you have a flat. Some stranger helps you out, and you drive the rest of the way. That's going to put you in a better mood.
Yeah, so more inclined to help some coworker that has an issue with something, because you're like, I'll pay it forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether kismet or fate or whatever, something good happened to me. Maybe I can cause something good to happen to someone else.
Yeah, and whether it be forward in your mind, or whether it's kind of, I guess, from more of a fiction point of view, maybe the hope is more of a subtle, more wish to, because we are, as uncomplicated. versions simplified, simplified and basic. I guess they sound like bad terms, but I think that if it is the case that we are trying to impart something onto them, onto other people, rather than just telling nice stories, old as well be kind of parables or fairy tales, or are they the same thing? I think they are. Just depending on which book they're in. That there is and this is a grandiose way of looking at it, because if you ask a writer, I imagine that most people, especially on kind of those who are kind of starting out, or on the 20th year of their starting out, there is an arrogance to it. There is saying, I want to change the world, even as one person at a time. That there is a enactment of what you want to see in the world, and by couching it or almost hiding it in fiction, that you want to say something better. Like, say, 1984, wonderful work of fiction has been imprinted on the world in the last few years.
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned Ralph Emerson, the American essayist, before, and I just love that quote. That's why I keep saying it, is that fiction reveals the truth that reality obscures.
Yeah,
I love that, but it's that would be part of my philosophy as well. Right. If I was to take it from stratospheric view, I view down, you could put it in a nutshell and go, leave the world better than you found it, if you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're not going to not everyone's successful at that, but if that's what I would like to do. And that doesn't account for the measure of how much better.
Yes.
Like, some people have massively positive impact on the world with their art, or with their even political policies, or
just their work, or just interaction with people.
Yeah. But on a day-to-day basis, if one can leave the world better than you found it, life well lived. I guess.
Indeed.
Yeah. That's the way I would look at it. Yeah. And to then bring it a lot closer to ground level, if I'm putting something out into the world for general consumption, including this podcast.
Wait, this goes out to general consumption?
No. our listener will be...
Yes. I spoke to him.
Our listener will be very happy to hear this.
Sure.
No, but if anytime you're putting something out there for content.
Yep. That word.
I think, for me anyway, I feel an almost moral obligation to try and bring positivity.
Okay.
To a degree, or at least, and now that sounds a little naive. It's like, every situation, just look at the bright side. No, some things don't have a bright side. Some things don't have silver linings.
Sure.
Some things are horrible. Some things are tragic, and that's perhaps when the strength of character needs to be there in order to kind of either help someone through it, or to at least maybe just help someone think about it in a different way, or in a kind of this too will pass sort of sort of thinking. So the negativity doesn't take hold, and the negativity doesn't drag people down.
Yeah, no, I get that. Again, I was agreeing with all of that, and you kind of, I was kind of taken away with it, and there was one thing I wanted to say, and that kind of fell away. Because I'm now trying to go over what you said, because I was just nodding away, not saying anything. I was like, wait, actually, I might have to make some positive noises. Because I was kind of hemming and hawing about kind of the negativity positive thing, because sometimes negativity is almost what you need, again, from a story point of view, that you want to show the negative.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will then show, or by depicting the negative, you like the idea of no one ever wants to be in a cabin in the woods with a serial killer.
Yeah.
But that will also, that could be a modern parable about, okay, don't pick someone up on when you're going through the Appalachian Mountains, the winding road, don't pick up the stranger. So it's a modern retelling of a very simple moral, but it is a case that it sticks in the back of your mind. And indeed, we'll go back to the idea of how entertaining it is.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's I used to be a trainer, and humor is a very useful way to impart information. That the greatest feedback I've ever got from a class that I've taught was them relaying the jokes to other people.
Brilliant.
And by relaying the jokes to other people, or relaying, oh, this was a funny thing that happened. And then they go, what were you there for? And then they tell the learning points, essentially. So it's
like, I also happened to learn stuff while I was laughing.
Yeah, so. But it was that sort of interaction. So through the vector of the story, this is the idea of what we want to say, because there's vast number of different themes. There's vast number of all the eight original Greek themes. There's specific things that you want to say in the text that's very overt. There are certain things that you'll say that's within the text, or kind of below level. And is all that based on the personal philosophy? I mean, if it's simply just you want to make the world a better place, or you want to impart.
It's easier said than done, of course.
It is, and it is also
some people aren't open to even receive that message.
Oh, absolutely, yes. All they see is the text rather than the subtext. That you could write a wonderful story where the Frankenstein, for example, where the Frankenstein monster is a girl. Oh wait, I did, and everyone just looks at it as, oh no, this is gender swap. No, there is a purpose here.
Yeah,
that taking an existing idea and then flipping on its head and then talking about it. Yes, there is things that are just gender swaps. Yes, there's things that they're not trying to, that their own personal philosophies are being worn on their sleeve. But the idea of, here's an idea, like I'm going to go in a little kind of maybe a slight rant. One of the negative reviews I got for the first Quantum Mancy book was that it was too cliched.
Oh.
Now, I was so tempted to kind of reply, because I think at the time you could reply to the reviews.
Yep.
I was so tempted to reply,
don't do it.
Yes, but those things you shouldn't read the reviews, positive or negative. Just ignore them, because just get your work out there. Have a trusted group of people, critics and people who give positive and negative feedback, but have a trusted group that you'll rely on. That's what I would say. But the reason why it really stuck with me was because I was setting out my stall.
Yeah.
For what would happen in book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, book 6. So, like, as I'm working into book 4 not at the moment, I'm working on other things, but about a third way into the text of book 4, all the things that I established, they're not being subverted, but they're going down my path.
Yeah.
The type of wizard being introduced, they're D&D wizards. Well, no, they started off that way, or I'm presenting them that way, so you have a basis of fact. I think we mentioned before, the touchstone I often use is the vampire. The kind of vampires can be so many different things.
Yeah.
So this version, so me saying my vampire is a Lost Boys vampire, that's so cliched. No. Now I want to take that and go down my route.
That's the baseline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So accepting that there is, inside the story, there'll be some certain sort of cliche that there is a that person only saw the surface.
Yeah.
I hope they kept reading. They only saw the surface. They didn't see, even in the first book, how those things were being deepened, essentially, for the ultimate story. As I guess, to talk about how my own philosophies manifest through the books, I found that a group in the key philosophy that has expressed itself, perhaps unintentionally, through most of my work, is the distinction between group and individual.
Okay.
That we define ourselves too much by the groups we're in, or not, or just we cleave ourselves to to these groups, these titles, and that gives us comfort, I guess, in these massive worlds where we want to be in an in-group, so that every expression of, I think, like, if you boil it down, every primary hero that is in any of my books are people who are outside of even their own friend groups.
Okay.
That they are hopefully statements of an actual individual. A search. This is, I guess, my personal search.
Yeah.
A search for the actual true source of individuality.
Yeah, and it's a depiction of how that individual can be part of and yet distinct from the group that they associate with.
Absolutely. We can go, because I don't write about. I was about to say I don't write about politics, but I know I do. I know that that politics and the current happening in social media and all that jazz has a profound effect on my writing, and a profound effect on me. Even I'm still on X, and I still read the toxic shit on that.
Yeah. I think we were talking about that before, is how the modern world around us is influencing our writing, or whether we bring things from the real world into the writing. And I think essentially our conclusion on that, or part of our conclusion was, of course, because
yes, that
you can't help but be influenced by the world around you. As a writer, you're taking these kind of events or these stories, or these news stories, and whether it's not translating directly onto a page necessarily, but either the emotion that it's invoking, or the injustice that you might feel from seeing these things. You may wish to, even, like in a fantasy world, make it better.
Exactly. Yes. I guess there to step away from my things and address that more, that by reducing down the problem from such a massive deal that we can't resolve these issues ourselves. And perhaps by expressing expressing a issue to an audience, going, this is bad, it'll get better.
Yeah.
You don't need,
or saying, here's a story where it ended differently. Everyone was friends in the end, or everyone survived. Not necessarily everyone will survive, but that's
but it's, I guess,
mature writing.
Even the Lord of the Rings, death of Boromir, death of any of the characters that happen, they serve, even in their absence, they serve as a presence.
Yeah,
that they, whether in the story they have an effect on Denethor and on the brother whose name Faramir, they have, so there's textual reasons for them, there's story reasons for them, but it's also a push for all the other characters.
There's an emotional impact on the reader as well.
Absolutely, one would hope. That there is a impact. But to go back to the whenever I'm talking to anyone these days, there is, in the real world, in the quote unquote real world, there is the unmistakable push, and maybe this has always been the case, and it's just something that in my naivete I've only come to in the later years, that, or maybe it's that social media has highlighted this, that you express one position, one political position, one social position, and the person listening to you will assign to you a whole host of other things.
It's an unfortunate truth of the world we're living in.
Yeah. No, I think this it's something that you've always been like, so in the 10th century, a British person versus a French person, it's like, you're French, you must be a monarchist, I have to kill you now. It's always
1600 Ireland.
Exactly. You're an Irish person, you're a British person, you can't get on. Actually, I saw recently a great video. There's a guy called Milo Rossi. He does archaeological videos. He did one on Roanoke, and one of the theories is that the settlers just almost melded into one of the local tribes.
Yeah.
And that was the opposite of what you'd expect. That they were given sanction from Queen Elizabeth to take over the land from the savages, and next, we get on.
No, we like them.
Yeah, we get on. And suddenly we're intermarrying, and suddenly, because it was years before the governor arrived back.
Yeah, to an empty settlement, wasn't it?
Which,
I think I remember
that had also been deconstructed. I think they actually had taken.
They found the posts.
Yeah, and Roanoke carved in, but Roanoke is the name. I don't know Roanoke. Krakatoa. I'm going to forget the name, but it's the name of one of the tribes.
Hmm.
So it was like saying signpost. That's where we went. So, but the idea that every person, it's like Orland Life, Brian, everyone's an individual.
I'm not
an individual. I'm not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not.
The push to be part of the group, I think that is, if there was one overarching element of all my primary characters,
we can find that in your writing.
I see that, or maybe I hope maybe other people don't, and our one audience member, hello, they may see that, and maybe someone who hasn't listened to this podcast, as the rest of the world, won't see that, and if they don't see that, that's great, because I've hidden it, or at least, or maybe those influences
masked it.
Yes, that hasn't been as overt.
Yeah, I know when I'm like taking the similar kind of mask approach is I mean, I don't know if I hide my overall philosophy as well,
right.
Because it's very plain in like heroic actions of the main character, and it's sacrifices there, and the pain of loss and the consequences, but I think if people were taking that view of the author has this philosophy of wanting to make the world a better place, by whatever small, minuscule, perhaps infinitesimal measure possible, and the characters are doing that,
right?
So I'm trying to live out my own personal philosophy through the writing of and the actions of the characters in the story, insofar as they're trying to make their world, perhaps a better place. And
okay,
and whether they know it or not, they might be just following orders, or they might be thinking for themselves instead, depending on what side.
Well, also, following orders isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No.
You can follow a just order.
Yeah.
Again, perhaps that's, I think I mentioned at the start, that the idea of or I intimated at the start that an order doesn't have to be bad.
Yeah.
But the assumption is it is. Well, if you hear the answer, like Nuremberg, there's a new movie coming out. That is, I followed orders was a common refrain.
Yeah.
But it was a bad order. It was a genocidal order. So maybe not.
Yeah, when I was only following, or I was just following orders, as an excuse to horrific behavior.
Yeah,
sure. But if it's the case of I was trying to ensure the rest of my colleagues survived, I was ordered to do that. I took that position on my own so they could escape, or as ordered.
Yes,
I think that's where I was going.
No, I absolutely. Yeah, I guess by adding just one or two words, you suddenly change the whole context of the statement. I know, 100%.
Yeah,
it actually, to step back to one thing that you mentioned before, the purpose of the writing. There is, again, because since we've gone about 20 minutes and I haven't mentioned role-playing in a while, there is a role-playing game called Wraith the Oblivion, where you play ghosts, and one of the backgrounds of that is called Memoriam, and essentially you get power for being remembered, essentially.
Okay.
So, like, say, Daniel O'Connell would be a very powerful ghost, because every town and
household
city
name
has got, it has got an O'Connell Street. Like I say, a friend of mine, he lives on O'Connell Street in Cork, which is tiny. It's not a main thoroughfare. I think Patrick Street is the one in Cork. So by being remembered, like, or by these things being taken down, by the statues being taken down.
Yeah, well, by that rationale in that game, then like the likes of Hitler would be extremely powerful because everybody remembers who Hitler is.
But fortunately,
for example,
in the game, the surge of souls caused by World War I and World War II traded the railways, so it basically turned into Stygian metal, which was then hammered out into the railways.
Okay.
So yes, but yes, whether it be the good person or the bad person, they are remembered.
Yeah.
And Memoriams 3, I think, was defined as a book. That someone you've published a book, and that is how that, because in this so
that's a nice thought.
So the idea being that, as in from a personal philosopher point of view, that we'll be forgotten. You and I will be forgotten. Like I say, like I'm not having kids. I don't know if you guys are. I'm not having kids, and so I'll be remembered by my niece and nephew, maybe by their kids, but that's it. My name will be forgotten in a handful of generations.
Okay.
So
cheery.
Sorry,
cheery thought.
Oh yes, but as I'm not saying that goes to real, but as in that that's the idea of that I will leave something behind. That whether it is one person finding something, in 100 years' time, it's just Amazon no longer exists. All my books are are available to every person.
Don't you mean Amazon would be the only thing that exists?
No.
Everything is Amazon.
Well, my point was about legal access, but sure, Amazon exists.
Okay.
And someone just picks up one of the books and finds something in it that speaks to them.
Yeah,
that is enough. That, because no matter if you're actually, indeed, even if you have kids, that the idea of your great grandkids will not remember you.
No,
like my mother has a recipe from, I think, her great grand aunt, a Dublin coddle. Oh, Dublin coddle's great. But I don't even know her name.
Okay.
I've never met this person. Of course I couldn't, but I have no experience. I have no knowledge of their life, other than they have passed down this old, worn,
wonderful recipe.
As in the page itself has browned on the outside, on the edges. My sister is taking a photograph of it to maintain a copy of it. So, but that person no longer exists. That recipe would keep that person. Have kept that person alive in my memory, in my sister's memory, in my mother's memory. So there is whether that's a tombstone for me, that no matter how many books I go down, like I've said before, that my aim is to fill a Billy bookcase, one Billy bookcase with books. That's a quantity goal.
But sorry,
go on.
I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just that I was reminded as you were describing that mechanic of being remembered, like that was very much an ancient Greek understanding of the afterlife, is to achieve fame. So your name lives on, and that your shade in the afterlife has the fame. It was very much, I think that was very much a motivation in Homer's Iliad of Achilles.
Okay.
Achilles wanted to...
to be remembered across, you be spoken across ages, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just interesting that that was a genuine, in ancient Greek culture, that was a genuine held belief of, how did Homer put it? Homer said, fame is the perfume of heroic deeds.
That's very nice.
And in the Iliad, that's one of Achilles' main motivations, is to achieve immortality.
Yes.
Through fame or notoriety, I guess,
to be remembered,
across all ages as the greatest warrior that ever lived.
Yeah.
And it's just that's came to my mind as you're saying, describing the mechanics of this game. I was like, well, that's I think that's probably, there are certain things, having studied ancient Greek and Roman civilization, it just seems that there are certain things and that never change. give thousands of years between them, and there are certain motivations and philosophies and kind of ideas that either come around again in kind of a fashionable way, like an idea might be fashionable for a while and then fall out of fashion in being replaced being replaced by something else, and but the wheel kind of slowly grinds on, and what's being crushed underneath the wheel today might be right at the top of the wheel.
Sure, absolutely.
At some point in the future. And, I like that idea that this is what the ancient Greeks kind of held true to themselves. It's like they'll be in Olympus with the gods, or in Hades, or sorry, in the underworld.
Yeah.
But if they are famous, they'll be elevated amongst the rest of those in the underworld.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice idea. It kind of comes around. It's fame seems to have always been something that individuals have strived for, whether it's a king that wants to be like a renowned warrior king, or known as a conqueror, or known as a good king, or powerful king.
But I would say that there is a difference between that which resonates through history and just in the here and now.
Yeah.
Like we could say current gold-plated kings that we know of in certain United States of places, they have no interest in being remembered. They want.
Maybe
they claim of the present, but it's everyone around them knows that that's all trans. He puts his name on things, but that name can be removed, and suddenly it's no longer his anymore. So,
but I think his destruction of the East Wing of the White House might have something to do with that. Going forward in history, people will always remember the guy that broke the house.
Yes, but I don't think. Perhaps I'm thinking on the diatribe, but I don't think he's aware of history because he's failing to learn by it. But sorry, you're saying that for those people those kings who do want to be remembered.
Yeah, like Achilles, 2,000 years before, or say 1,000 years at a stage before, it's to be known across time, for their name to be spoken long after they're gone.
There was a quote from Benjamin Franklin, who was a learned man and probably who also studied Greek and Romans, the ancient Greek and Roman civilizations. The quote, and it used to be my signature on my email for years. So I guess this is deep in my psyche. Either do something worth writing about, or write something worth reading.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So, and I think the doing is. There's a smaller number of people who can do the doing, and a large number of people who can do the writing.
It's almost like the gym teacher. Or is it those that can't do teach, and those that can't teach gym?
That's the one.
That's from School of Rock. Well, that's where I heard it. But yeah, no, it's. I suppose you mightn't seek fame, but fame might be thrust upon you, or if you're doing, certain like singular individuals, like Mozart, his name will be spoken long after. Now he may have sought fame. He might have been one of these individuals based on what is known about his personality. It was not necessarily the fame that he wanted, but it was the perfection of the art. And through that, achieved the fame and achieved the notice of the emperor, etc., etc. Like John Lennon. John Lennon will be spoken of for many, many, many years to come. Sure.
I heard recently that I think Dark Side of the Moon is 50 years old.
Oh, okay.
Soon enough. I was just remembered the Jim Henson Company is 70 years old. And they're well, I was going to make a comment on what you said, that we're, as a human race, we're not much different than we were 2,000 years ago. Yeah, because it's a drop in the bucket of time.
Yeah, we are
while we have had significant technological advances, a computer is a very advanced form of an abacus. So the concepts have existed for a very long time, and our happy ape brains have been making the best of it.
Yeah, and the principles of survival, that the needs triangle has always been the same. I mean, you need shelter, you need food, you need security, safety.
Yeah. And the one thing I keep returning to when I talk about history these days is the idea, I can't remember who said it, so unsighted attribution, that if you think about someone from 50 years ago, they didn't have a shower. Think about like, say, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
He probably didn't regularly shower.
Yeah.
Or he had a bath, twice a week. That the just standing in the shower in the morning, going, people who you value, people who you Hercules didn't shower regularly, or definitely didn't have a power shower where you could just turn it on and be hot water. So these simple luxuries should be remembered as different as humanity is, or sorry, similar as humanity is. We are moving very rapidly through different stages of our development.
Yeah, but I guess my point in all that is you take, like I was saying, the span of history, the span of recorded history, and the needs, the wants, what a human thinks, how a human reacts to external and internal pressures, how they feel, what they love, what they hate, what they're afraid of, who they choose to fight for or defend, or what they choose to fight for or defend. These things are universally recognizable, and they've always been the same. So I kind of think of that when I try and incorporate, a long view into the motivations of characters and the needs and wants of what is happening in the world that I'm writing.
Sure.
And how I kind of just weave in, I try and weave in the unconscious memory of the human experience.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yes, I get that. Yeah. As a yes, and I'm just trying to parse all that. Yeah, because it was very nicely put. That we do have the.
You must be a writer.
Yeah, you should write this.
I should write. I should be a writer.
Get a laptop. Right, start typing right now. Yeah, so I guess to encapsulate, there is. We do have these personal philosophies. We do have these, and whether it is because we're not looking from a fame point of view, as in, I think you may agree that we're not looking for fame as a motivation. We're looking to get these stories out, and if that has a positive influence on people, then that's grand.
That's great.
Yeah,
that is great. If some, like you say, that one person can read your work and relate to the dichotomy between the individual and the group that they're either associated with, or they can see themselves in what you've written.
That would be awesome. The freedom to because all the characters I would be saying they are of certain types, and yet they're not.
Yeah,
that they are all presented with and I can't think of a single other case that they are all presented with. Here's what you should be.
Yeah,
the individual characters going no.
It's either an acceptance or a rejection of what they in quote should be.
Yeah,
or what they are meant to be or are told to be.
Yeah, but I think it's almost the path. Well, the path is almost always ultimately leading to a rejection of a group. It's like my even in my own likes, the things, the stories I like. The found family for me is always the stronger than the biological family. I can give the touchdown of say Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as in you have the friends who are by the
proper adhesive mates.
Exactly, they just lock in together, and that is an acceptance. And then you look across that group dynamic, and you have I was about to say you have a gay couple and an ex-demon, and just an acceptance of all types, no matter what that background is, inside that world. So it's. that is an expression of the individual existing within the group.
Yeah,
that they can go, I'm off for my Wicca meeting, I'll be back, or I'm off for my ex-demon meeting, or I'm off for whatever. I'm going to go for my ex-demon badminton game, or whatever that is,
Exactly. You're just reminding me of a D&D party as well. I was like,
exactly.
Why is that warlock that has a pact with a devil hanging out with that paladin that is a servant of this god, who also, this, thief or rogue that none of them should hang out with, but they need to hang.
It's finding that family.
Yeah.
That every role-playing group, I will say not every role-playing group, because there is some role-playing groups are okay. Everyone's from this group, from this organization, or from this team, or whatever. But yeah, I guess I positive, because I often give negatives about D&D. Like, positive to D&D is that you are creating a bunch of individuals, or the aim is to create a bunch of individuals, and then as a group force them all together, and finding the individual partnerships, because you find the individual partnerships inside, and you find the trifectas, and you find the
subgroups,
exactly,
in the larger group.
Exactly.
I do like those stories as well. Like, in fantasy, they're look, it's.
But to give an example, because it's a touchdown in Critical Role, the first season, where they had you had Grog and Scanlan, where you have these two who are completely different, but they go for many adventures, and it is
about like drinking.
Oh yeah,
that's all they need.
Yeah, but you have Vix and Vax.
Yeah.
These two characters who became let's play twins. So you have all these different individual unifications inside, and then they have 3 romantic couples inside that as well.
Yeah.
So is it 3? Or at least 2, but yeah. So you date
two with one on and again, off again, with Pike and Scanlan.
Oh yeah, well,
if you were to get technical, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but wait, but but you get the kind of all these little dynamics are forged from a group of characters that are it makes wonderful sense.
Yeah,
and they can have freedom to express the individuality. Because I guess that the corollary to it is the repression of the individuality.
Yeah.
The saying, no, you can't be the person you are for whatever reason, and you accepting it because of the person, people saying it are family members, or because they're work colleagues, or because they are of the group that you have cleaved to.
In the real world, it's difficult to swim upstream. That's at times, and it's difficult to stand out.
This is not swimming upstream. This is swimming into a different stream. This is being part of a current in an ocean.
Yeah,
because you don't have to. It may be the case that you have to separate away. You have to go, right, fuck it, I'm done. I can't fully express who I am, or my own values, or my own just. And this is because you can. I guess, and this is why I think this is a key philosophy for me, is because you can express that, you can find that very clearly in expressing of sexual orientation, or trans issues, or there is big political and social political things that you can go, I can't be the person I am in this group. I remember talking to a trans person I used to work with, and they were saying that at the time, this was 12 years ago, I think, the recommendations they received is move away.
Boy,
become, as in you're becoming a different person. You're starting a different life. You're taking out you're dropping your a dead name. The best thing to do is to basically go somewhere else. Ultimately, they didn't. Ultimately, they basically swapped location. As I said, they stayed. They physically moved, but they stayed in proximity to a lot of their friends. Which I can't even tell you the impact of that. I can't tell you how good it was or how bad it was. All I know is that was the advice that was given. But and those are the big challenges you can point to. But this could also be simply someone who wants to express an art, or who as in Billy Elliot, who wants to express dance. It doesn't have to be the big issues,
like Kevin Bacon in Footloose.
In Footloose, yes, it doesn't have to be a to find one's own individuality, or to express one's own individuality. It doesn't have to be. It just has to matter to you, rather than it being such a a significant change.
And I think that's a lovely point to, we're going to just...
thank you.
We're going to possibly come back with more personal philosophy, or we'll move on from that, but I think we're just going to wrap it up here for now. We're going to... Obviously, it is a recording session. We're going to continue, but I'm going to pretend that this is the end of the episode, this particular episode.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening, and thanks, Al. And
until next time.
Until next time. Thank you for listening to Fictional Problems, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. In our next episode, we'll be discussing plagiarism in relation to TV and movie adaptations of literary works, in particular the likes of Foundation and The Witcher. We will also talk about the importance of having respect for the source material when creating adaptations. Join us.